How to Raise Strong and Resilient Kids. Some of my most discouraging parenting moments are when my kids declare, "This is too hard. I don't want to do it anymore." It's when they start a task and then immediately want to give up. Sometimes it's something small, like a jigsaw puzzle, and sometimes it's something with more investment, like the dance lessons they were so eager for just a few weeks ago. Either way, it's frustrating. And if you're anything like me, it's because your inner voice is saying, if they can't stick with this, how are they going to stick with anything? How are they going to fight through life? I wish I could say don't worry about it, that it's not a big deal, but I can't. The reality is that as researchers study the psychology of success, they're confirming that sticking with it, as it turns out, matters a lot. What's more, the evidence suggests that specific parenting moves help cultivate this quality. With that, here are 3 gifts you can give your kids to help them become stronger and more resilient. The gift of responsibility. In her book, How to Raise an Adult, Julie Lythcott-Haims, former dean of freshman and undergraduate advising at Stanford University, explains the importance of chores. A kid who does chores has a greater chance of success, defined as not using drugs, having quality relationships, finishing education, and getting started in a career. My family has experienced the benefit of chores. Only that's not what we call them. We call them responsibilities and contributions. I much prefer these terms because of what they communicate. The word chore connotes negativity. Chores are hassles, things we have to do because that's life. Responsibility and contribution speak to virtue. They're things we do because it's right and others are counting on us. The impact on my kids has been profound. Not only are they developing essential life skills, but they're also learning to follow through on otherwise tedious tasks. What's more is that they're taking pride in their duties. They're learning that when you start a task, you should finish it with excellence. For ideas of age-appropriate responsibilities, see this chart, adapted from How to Raise an Adult by Julie Lythcott-Haims. The Gift of Grit. In her book Grit, 2013 MacArthur Fellow Angela Duckworth explains how high achievement stems much more from perseverance and toughness than from talent. She sums up these qualities with the term grit, the tendency to sustain interest in and effort towards very long-term goals. Duckworth explains how effort counts twice as much as talent. She breaks it down like this. Talent and effort develop skill. Skill and effort lead to achievement. Thus, effort counts twice for high achievement. As a mother, Duckworth seeks to foster grit in her own children. To this end, her family practices what she calls the hard thing rule, which has 3 parts. First, every member of the family has to be working on at least one hard thing, something that requires purposeful practice and personal growth. For children, this might be a sport, learning an instrument, or being part of a club. For adults, this might be learning a new skill or working towards a work promotion. Second, you can only quit your hard thing at a natural ending point. For example, at the end of the season, after the recital, or at the end of the year. No quitting because of a bad day. Third, each family member, and only that family member, gets to choose his or her hard thing. The hard thing rule is now something that my family practices. I found that it provides a valuable platform to discuss overcoming struggles, which is crucial to raising kids who can think critically. The gift of acceptance. Lastly, if you want your kids to be strong and resilient, let them know that you love and accept them. While this seems obvious, it's not something that parents do intuitively. To be sure, I'm not suggesting that we don't love and accept our kids. I'm saying that kids, especially around upper elementary and middle school, often feel that parental love is predicated on performance and compliance. In her book Mindset, Stanford professor Carol Dweck breaks down how the way parents praise kids can be detrimental to long-term development. Specifically, parents who only praise kids for results, like good grades, rather than process, maximum effort or practice, tend to raise kids who seek out easier tasks. The logic makes sense. Why try to do hard things and lose, when I can stick to easy things and win? There is another, perhaps greater danger. The perception that my parents only love me when I'm good or when I succeed. This type of thinking can lead to bitterness and resentment. It's an insidious blindfold that can make kids misinterpret genuine concern as judgment. Try to tell a child with this mindset that he can't quit soccer, and you'll likely get an angry retort about controlling his life. Thankfully, there's a better way. In the 5 love languages of children, Dr. Gary Chapman discusses the concept of an emotional love tank. He explains that when children don't feel loved, when the love tanks are empty, they're anxious, insecure, and unable to take correction. Conversely, When their love tanks are full, children are resilient, confident, and more willing to take risks. This reminds me of a paradigm-shifting moment in my own parenting journey. One day, my 6-year-old daughter Emma was being belligerent to my wife. Now Emma knows that if there's one thing that will turn Daddy into the Incredible Hulk, it's disrespecting Mom. So as I approached, she balled up her little fists and set her brow, preparing to defend against my wrath. Only, the wrath never came. Instead of yelling, I collected myself, took her in my arms and said, "Emma, there is nothing you can do that will make me love you any less." The effect was immediate. Her shoulders relaxed and she buried her head into my chest. If you're wondering, Emma certainly didn't get off without consequence. It's not okay for kids to be disrespectful, let alone towards their parents. The difference is the way she responded to the consequence. Not with bitterness, but with a sensibility I wouldn't have thought possible for a 6-year-old. It was the mature reaction of somebody with enough self-security to admit when she's wrong. When we give our children the gift of acceptance, we provide them with a refuge where they can safely admit their faults. This, in turn, makes them stronger. Strength, after all, is not the absence of weakness, but the ability to overcome it. Did you like this video or know a parent who would? Then click the subscribe button right below this video, or join us at parentlikeateacher.com.